We will now interrupt your regularly scheduled programming for this Good Old Blades micro podcast.
It wasn't something that I learned immediately in knife making. Is using a protectant on my blades and what that actually does holistically to the aesthetic of the knife. But there's two primary waxes that I use. I have a big can of BWC Company's bowling alley wax. That it has a solvent and everything in it, and so it makes it a little bit more pliable or malleable for you to be able to spread it on a blade and handle. And you let it dry a little bit, or the solvent evaporate out, and then you wipe it down. And if you want a more I'm not going to say food safe, but a friendlier version of that, you can use something like Axe Wax. I really like Axe Wax in a lot of ways because there's it's all natural ingredients, and it does a really good job of presenting the knife well. But think about this: when you're doing your finishing work on your knife, you're sanding it, you're getting everything primed, you're taking it up to its grits, you might be buffing it or whatever, and when you get done with it, you might have fingerprints, or you might have dust or other things. Something that I do is I wash all of my knives. If I can get the material wet, I wash all my knives with Dawn dish detergent to totally degrease it. I don't even really mess too much with acetone or alcohol at that stage. Especially because, if you're using certain types of acrylics, or you're using micartas or things like that, and you've buffed things, if you run acetone on it, sometimes it'll turn it a dull color. And sometimes it can actually change the color of your handle material. So I wash everything really well with water and Dawn, and then I make sure it's all really, really dry. And then I'll usually apply a few coats of wax. So apply it to the blade and the handle, and then take a microfiber cloth, a clean microfiber cloth, and buff it all up. Now, obviously, you want to make sure, especially if that blade is sharpened, that you do not cut yourself. Ask me how I know, but the application of wax, even though your finish might look really good and everything, adds a little bit extra to the porosity of steel, where I think it photographs better, it looks better to the eye, and it also offers a more homogeneous finish for photography, so the light plays off of it in the correct way. Now, I mean, wax is not going to fix flaws in your finish. It's not going to change a satin finish to the point where it's going to be ambiguous or disingenuous for you to present that. However, I think that when it comes to lighting, when it comes to presentation in a showroom or things like that, that wax, it just adds a little bit extra touch, a little bit extra sheen, and also protection for the blade material. And handle material if you use it. So look up Axe Wax. Look up BWC Company's bowling alley wax. I think you can find that on Amazon. And Axe Wax, you can go directly to their Instagram or website and buy cans of it. I use them all the time, and I think that they're fabulous. Just use a really clean microfiber cloth, so that way you're not imparting any scratches or anything to it. Watch out for the blade edge itself, because you'll want to do stuff after it's sharpened, specifically because of the grit and other things that happen during the sharpening process. And you should be good to go. It really adds just a little bit extra touch and a little bit extra protection that I think that you'll benefit from. And if you're using knives for food processes, I believe you can use mineral oil that's food safe. And that should also add a little bit extra protection, and you can buff that in as well. But I try to stay away from things like tongue oil or gun stock finish or whatnot. It's just because they are They're not food safe, and their tongue wool at least kind of leaves a greasy, hard finish as it dries, and it doesn't last very long. So you can apply it and reapply it, and it kind of makes things gummy is not the right word, but it's definitely if you use it enough, you'll know that if it doesn't dry properly and harden, that it gets a little bit weird. And it also, as the temperature outside, like the ambient temperature increases, if you soak wood in it, like especially natural handle material, then as it gets hot, it tends to weep. So it will then melt that tongue wall, and it'll start weeping from areas. So just be careful. Use a good coat of wax, and you'll see that it does wonders for photography, the look of things, and to protecting it. Hope that helps.